Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Todd Patrick here with another KBBT Elite 8 Angler interview. And today, or tonight, we have the opportunity to interview Mr. Kyle Zemke. Kyle is actually from Hayburn, Idaho. Um, Probably the most further westmost angler I think that we've had in the event ever. But for those of you who don't know where Hayburn's at, Hayburn's right off the Snake River. It's on the north side of the Snake River there, right by Interstate I-84. Right before you get to Twin Falls if you're going west. So it's a nice little area there in south central Utah, Idaho, and that's where Kyle's at. So about 2.5 hours from Salt Lake City, you'd say that, Kyle?
Yeah, it is about 2.5 hours from there, north of Salt Lake. Yeah.
It's God's country out there.
Yeah, just beautiful. We really do live in a paradise. It's a bit of a high mountain desert, but when you got the river right next to you, it doesn't matter.
Right. So, everybody, this is Kyle Zemke. We're going to get to know him and get to interview him and talk about, what he's done thus far in KBBT to get to where he's at. And we'll just have a good time with Kyle. So, Kyle, welcome, man. Awesome road so far. Great fishing, man. I mean, you've been known in KBBT to come out and just put up 90 bag after 90-inch bag after 90-inch bag after 90-inch bag. It's just, Kyle Zemke, a 90-inch bag is like it's hand in hand. So congratulations on your consistency and to getting to where you are now. But before we get into the kayak fishing in KBBT, let's get to know you on a deeper level, man. So what do you do for a living? Maybe elaborate more on where you live, or you got wife, kids, anything like that. Just tell us a little bit about yourself that maybe a lot of people probably don't know about you.
So yeah, thanks for all that. I just like to fish. Just can't get enough of it. Eat, sleep, breathe fishing all the time. I'm actually just a single father of two boys, 16 and 11. I grew up right here in southern Idaho. I actually live right here behind my parents' house in a house real close. Our lawns are connected. My little shop, I've been a boat mechanic most of my life. At the age of 13, 14, I got hooked up with a boat guy, and just one of them things. I live really close to the river, and it was just something I always wanted to do. I spent a lot of time wrestling when I was a little kid, grew up wrestling. I still coach wrestling at a middle school.
Okay.
In the middle of going to college to be a teacher, a geology teacher. Spend a lot of time snowboarding and skiing in the winter times. We have a really good mountain that's really close, just a little small fun place to play. As far as work, like I said, I've been a boat mechanic most of my life, and that stemmed into jet skis and snowmobiles, and I've raced rimshaw hill climbs and snowcross, and got trophies and hardware from all that crap too. And you get hurt. Kids grow up and you start kind of slowing down a little bit. Wrestling kind of come back into the life with the kids, obviously, and as they're growing, they want to wrestle too, and so we've kind of done that and still pushing that. It's good for kids. It's one of them sports, in my opinion. It's really important, and it teaches a lot more than most people would imagine, especially attitude, all sorts of stuff. It really teaches people about themselves too, and where they can overcome and do those kind of things. So it's a big part of our lives. As far as some of the other stuff is just, I'm an adrenaline junkie when it comes to it. I spend a lot of time in the water. We wake surf a lot behind big boats. That's kind of an advantage of being a boat mechanic, through the years, is we get to play with some cool stuff. Even my job now, I get paid to drive a boat, a 30-foot boat. We installed dock systems. So I spend a lot of time in the water and in the river. We put boat lifts in, and in the wintertime we deal with ice, so we have to take them all out. So we're pretty busy with that, and that's kind of how I got hooked up with the kayak thing. If fishing has always been something, even before I was divorced, that was about a reason I got divorced numerous times, is obviously fishing and spending too much time doing it. I'm sure a lot of married guys can understand, and even the divorced ones too, but being a boat mechanic, I walked past them Hobie kayaks for a long time, and I had a couple 10-cent kayaks from Costco 20 years ago, and no seats, no nothing. I had a lot of fun in them things. But, you see them Hobie kayaks and gosh dang, I can't afford that. I'm a poor guy. I'm no rich guy by any means. So I just walk past them and think to myself, I put a lot of gas in my boat for that much money. One day a coworker put one in there, and well, I'll tell you what, the rest was history. That was in 2014, and the sport of kayak fishing has changed my life dramatically. I literally went from working 80 hours, for a paycheck or whatever, to fishing constantly out of a plastic boat and getting to do what I get to do. I've been a member of the Hobie fishing team since 2014.
Awesome.
And I started the little kayak group called Snake River Yak Addicts here in Idaho. And I started just a business name called Kickin' Bass Kayak Fishing that I used to back tournaments.
Okay.
In 2014, I went to my first tournament in the saltwater, and I'd only seen the ocean once in my life. I was 35, 36 years old then. And I drove 800 and some miles to meet some of the most awesome friends that I still know today, lifelong friends, and I never even caught a fish. We got beat by a girl. And I I drove all the way home. And my nickname is Smiley, by the way. If you can't tell, I constantly smile and giggle, and I'm contagious, I've told.
Yeah.
I thought all the way home, people got to experience that. And just because I get to do that doesn't mean that you can't do it at home. So that's why I wanted to start those things, just to share a passion. Had I known what was going to happen 6 years later or this much time later, I would have laughed at you and never thought that would have happened. But it's truly been a crazy ride and so much fun, and I mean, here we are into enjoying tournaments and having just a blast. I get to go to Gunnersville in October for KBF National Championship even, and this will be the third trip. So I've been to Kentucky Lake twice. I think I finished like 95th the last time I went. I didn't go last year because I was busy with school. And here we are now, just with this silly virus stuff. But after that, we got this KBBT now, so I really enjoy that. It's fun to get to display that consistency and what I've spent all that time in my life. I don't know if
We lost you there for a second, but you're back.
oh yeah, I had a call come in. People want to talk.
Yeah.
So yeah, just one of them things. It's just kind of snowballed into what it is now. It's an impressive kind of thing.
Right. So, my gosh, you went into a lot of stuff there. We got to know a little bit about you. You got passion for wrestling, and kind of got your backstory on getting yourself into a Hobie, being on the Hobie team, things like that. And that's a blessing. I mean, that's got to be one of the best teams to be on out there. I mean, a Hobie kayak, I've sat in one. I don't think I've ever used one. But they seem nice. And, it's just something I've not had the privilege to be in yet. But, you started off right there and on the Snake River, man. My God. I mean, is that not God's country right there? Is that, the amazing fishery that you have there in your back? Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Todd Patrick here with another KBBT Elite 8 Angler interview. And tonight, we have the opportunity to interview Mr. Kyle.
I've been fishing this KBBT every Saturday, and I've been working and other things. So being out of family vacation and everything, I'm a couple of weeks behind on fishing tackle. So if anybody's watching and you're wondering where your order's at, I'm sorry. I am in the process of making, there's the Snake River craws, little buggers. You can see what I've been doing all day because it's 100 degrees outside and I'm sitting in the AC making fishing tackle. So
what kind of skirting material do you use?
It's all silicone skirts.
Okay.
Yep. Just your average skirting material, like if you was going to buy your own kits. It's really, anybody could almost do it, really. Just takes a little bit of time and a little bit of artistic ability, I guess, to a point. I guess that's another thing I've been I used to own a tattoo shop. I actually done all my tattoo work, even the hook in my but just kind of a man of many talents, I guess. So
Yeah.
just kind of comes to that artistic stuff. I definitely would. I like that stuff.
You said ZRCustomTackle.com. Is that the website?
Yep. ZRCustomTackle.com.
All right. Well, hopefully we can get some people interested in that, because it looks like some pretty good quality stuff.
Yeah, here's some artistic stuff for you, just to screw around a little more. That is a sturgeon made out of epoxy.
That's sharp. That's pretty neat looking.
A tester one out of colored pencils.
I see the pen. That's sweet. So what do you do? You shave those down and sand it, and you fill it with it, connect it with glue, and then you put the epoxy to clear coat it.
Basically, yeah. It's a process. I have a little mold, and I've never really done it with that one. That's kind of a mess up. So I didn't stabilize the wood. So I ended up shaving it down and breaking it once, and then I stuck the pieces of colored pencil back in there with a different piece of wood, and then I poured epoxy around it and sanded it back down again, and then polished it. So you could see the pencils in there.
That's pretty neat.
I had time on my hands to do stuff. I got a whole bunch of them.
Huh.
Just one of the things.
Well, yeah. Let's get into the tournament a little bit. So like I said, you had 93 1/4, 91.75, 94.75 for your first three bags. You're going up against Illinois angler David Brook, if I'm not mistaken, this week. And his interview, I think, just went live on KBBT. Before we got yours going today. He's stoked. I asked him in the interview. I said, "What do you think it'll take to win?" And I think he said 94 inches. If 94 inches, you're the only angler of the two to hit 94. David's not been there yet. You did it last week. What would be your prediction, and what do you think it's going to take to win this week? And do you have anything that you'd like to say to Dave?
It'll probably take that 93 or 94 inches, I'll bet. Gosh, I seen him catch or put a fish up on a picture just the other day that looked like a nice one or something today I seen. So, the guy can fish. I mean, I'm not counting nobody out, and especially with largemouth, that's always in the back of my mind, because you can pump out a 20 incher, and I've really struggled. I haven't been able to find a 20 plus smallmouth, but I'm consistent with plus.
Yeah.
And a couple that were over those 19s, but boy, I literally have 100-degree wet weather right now finally. So, this next weekend could be a little tricky. It might take me all day to find 5 fish.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. What kind of weather are you looking at for the weekend? Are you going to get any fronts moving through to give you any relief, or is it going to be straight heat and sun?
Pretty sure straight heat, just dead heat. So that's going to be tricky.
Might be rough. Yeah, it's going to be tricky.
Hopefully I can get a few good fish early in the morning. But I'm one of them that I don't give up until the end. I had to give up at 3 last time because my phone wouldn't take a picture of my last 19 1/4. So I had to throw it back. And the last two 18 3/4 that I submitted were pictures that I took before my phone died. But I catch them in deep water. And there is, it's taken me years to figure that out, but there is a couple key points that I have that do hold current, deep water, rocks, and crawdads, and an abundant amount of bait fish. So they can just sit there and eat without having to do a whole lot. And they'll stage up there. I've been waiting for them to get there, but they haven't got there. So these last few weeks, they've been in that spawn mode still. Like at the beginning of this tournament, I'm starting out where I'm expecting them to be off them points and secondary points, and they're not there. I'm catching a few fish and be like, wow, that's crazy. Go up shallow water and bam, 18 incher, bam, 18 incher, bam, 19 incher, bam, 19 incher, just over and over and over and over again. And then like the one day, even one of the beginning, I think it was the first round actually, I caught one. Well, it was. I think Derek Brundle and I was on a live thing, and I think I got the $20 on him for Marcus. And right before that, I had caught a big small school of bait really close to that spot where I caught that very, very first one. And right then, I dropped what I was doing, skated out to where I knew that there's a specific spot where I knew they were nested. And when I pulled up on that spot, I could still see them on the beds. And when you see a big black spot like that and you cast over and it circles and eats your little bugger, it's game on. And
Yeah.
I caught one of those big fish in less than 3 feet of water, 96 degrees outside, middle of July, and I sight fished every single one of them. So that was like, are you serious? Like, what are they doing here? So in the last couple of weeks, it's still been shallow water. Even this last week, it was still shallow water, but they were back to those staging areas, and they were back in those areas that we're kind of accustomed to seeing them in the summertime. So hopefully I can, put it together and get 5 fish that matter.
We're, to stay consistently in the 90s, like you have done in KBBT, you've never been under 90 inches, and no jinx coming your way here. Just stating facts. Where's your confidence level at? Or are you kind of more like an angler that is just like, I'm gonna go grind and whatever happens, happens. Yeah.
It is fishing. I mean, I put a little science and a lot of thought behind everything, but again, it is still fishing, and there's a reason we call it fishing, and we don't call it catching. So, yeah. I mean, anything can happen. I mean, I could get skunked on Saturday. I mean, it's as possible as it gets, So, I mean, I don't, like I said, I try not to look at things like that. I try to keep that mindset that I got to go look for fish, and I have to find them, and they're not always going to be in that certain spot. And I fish the moment. I pay attention to what's going on. I just fish the moment, and I spend a lot of time on the water. And anybody will tell you, time on the water, time on the water, time on the water, and over again. And that's where it's at. And I spend a lot of time on the water, so I pay attention to things, just the littlest things. And I don't actually use a fish finder either. Most people just gig out on electronics. I just go with it. I pinpoint areas that I know have fish, and I just stick to it and just do my thing. I have confidence in what I'm using. It's my own stuff now, so I really have a lot of confidence in it. And I mean, you guys have seen what the little bugger does, and a good old shaky head, and a little bit of drop shot in the summertime, and you'd be surprised.
So what would you say your biggest kayak fishing accomplishment has been thus far?
Really, it doesn't even have nothing to do with bass fishing.
Mm-hmm.
All of it together was probably my first ever tournament win, which was in the saltwater at the Tillamook Bay May Day. And I didn't win any money. All of the proceeds went straight to Heroes on the Water. And I met some friends that day. And those friends are still, I could call them up right now and have a place to live, stay, whatever. Wouldn't matter. I still go see them all the time. And that was like an epic moment in my life. And that weekend, those 4 days was, I will never top that, ever. I got to fish Pacific City, Cape Kiwanda, off the Oregon coast. And if you've ever seen anything about it, it is to die for. And like I said, I met lifelong friends. That was like, whether it was an accomplishment or not, it was just that big, giant turning point and the most epic weekend you could ever have. That's the one that sticks out.
Yeah, that's awesome. What Hal does for, for military, ex-military, current military, things like that, is absolutely awesome. And I've got to go to a couple Hal events, Heroes on the Water events in Michigan, with, just getting veterans on the water, things like that. It's awesome what they do. It's really cool.
Paddle, fish, kill.
Yeah. So let's see. My gosh, man. So what would it mean for Kyle Zemke of Hayburn, Idaho, to win this tournament?
That'd be awesome. It'd just be awesome. I don't even know. You guys think I go crazy when I catch an 18-incher? Let me tell you, I would probably poop myself and cry. It would be awesome. It would just be awesome. I don't know what else I don't really, I'd be speechless, literally.
Yeah. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibilities, man. I mean, I'm looking at all these anglers, just their bags, and, Mason Good, that 98 and a quarter last week that he put up was amazing. That's going to be, if he put up 98 and a quarter, you're going to win.
Right.
So you never know what's going to happen, but the steady 93-inch average that you're at is awesome on smallmouth, things like that. So we're gonna have to see how this works out. But you are one of the top 8 anglers remaining in this bracket. You are KBBT 2021 National Championship qualified. You know how that's going to work, right?
Not a clue.
So there's going to be a bracket next year. It's going to start in April, if I'm not mistaken, or late March. I think it's going to start in April. It's going to start after Easter. And you are going to be able to fish just like you fish right now, versus other anglers across the country, in the 64 round, the 32 round, and the 16 round. The Elite 8. So if you're here in the national championship, you will travel and fish the same body of water of the other 7. And you will fish 3 days consecutive, if you advance to win, to become the national champion. And it's going to be awesome.
That sounds
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So we're working out the details for all the anglers and things like that, getting things set up, sponsors, lake, things like that. But it's going to be great. So as a feat in itself for you to get to the Sweet 16 and become national championship qualified. But now you're in the Elite 8. You're going home with a trophy regardless. You're going home with money regardless. I mean, the sky's the limit for you, Kyle. And it's been a treat to have you. It's been a treat to watch your excitement when you caught that big fish on camera last week. Was it your aunt that posted? She reposted.
My whole family has shared it, and it's
Yeah. But to watch your emotion was Mike Iaconelli-esque. It was awesome. You you lost it, and I think it was an 18 and a quarter. But for you to do it on camera, your emotions were just through the roof, and it was great. You want to tell us about that catch, by the way?
Oh my gosh, the one I lost right before that was really big too. And when you're fishing, if you finesse fish, especially that stinking Ned rigger, the little bugger, them giants, especially smallmouth, they put a shoulder into that bad boy and head straight down. If you're not ready, it's just gonna pink pop the hook. The good old give or take saying. So as soon as I see it and realize, it's just, I just want to get it in the net because it's, they jump and it's just chaos. And that's the part nobody gets to see. So boy, once you finally do, the nerves calm down and you get it in the net, it's just, I would do that with a 10-incher, really. My buddy Jamie gave me a hard time. One day we were fishing a while ago, this spring in the spawn, come across about 8 feet of water. Fish were spawning on top of rocks. I'm not even joking. You had to take a picture of that fish. Couldn't believe it. And Jamie still gives me a hard time about that. It wasn't even a pound.
That's hilarious. It shows your It shows your passion for the sport, and it just shows your heart is full of exhilaration when you finally connect, because it is a special thing. When you go out there and you throw and you can see the fish even, but to connect on a fish and to get into the boat, I mean, that's the ultimate goal of the sport. And when you do that, I mean, why not let out a little yell or heck yeah or something, because it was hard work to get it. So, I mean, we need to see more of that out there. We need to see more screams and yells and hoot and hollering, right?
You can't tell me that you don't get excited to catch a big fish.
Yeah. Just like, I mean, I do for fishing, but for hunting especially. When you're out there in the woods and you draw back on a doe and you're sitting there and just ready to take that shot, and you're reeling a fish in. I mean, that same, they call it buck fever or whatever that is. It's just awesome, man. I love it. The sport's great. What's the local club that you're fishing with or that you're affiliated with? It's Snake River. What is it?
So I started Snake River Yak Addict, but I'm affiliated and I fish in the series that's Idaho Kayak Bass Fishing, which is, of course, a KBF affiliate, and that's how I qualified for national championship. I was the 2019 Player of the Year for the online series. And I want to say, I think somebody else is ahead of me now because I missed the 4th tournament, but I was here for 2020. I got a couple of medals, even 1st and 2nd place finishes on my birthday up at Cascade Red. So that was pretty cool. So I've had an extremely awesome year when it comes to fishing. And so I've been pretty lucky. So hopefully I keep it going, I guess.
So